or anything like that. So the pain would not go away. So I went to the emergency room, and I told them I think I busted a gut.
That was like mid-January.
That was in January of 2013.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they did a CT scan, and it came back and said, well, Mr. McCants, we see something. You don't have a hernia or anything like that, but we see something on your liver. We don't know. We can't say what it is, so you need to go see your primary care physician and go from there. So I went to my primary care physician, and I told her, I said, what we need to do. She said, well, she could not emphatically say, but I know she possibly knew that the possibility. And she said, well, we need to do a PET scan, and that'll be a bit more, pinpointing what the situation is.
Because I think they had an idea. I remember when you came home from emergency even, you had an idea that it might be cancer, but they wanted to
know for sure.
Further.
Yeah, they had an idea in the emergency room, after they did the CT scan, that it's a possibility it could be cancer.
Right.
So anyway, we did the PET scan, and sure enough, it lit up, and I had, all the little different areas within my body that lit up, showing the areas where the cancer is. And but still, in that, they could not emphatically say it's cancer, because that's just a picture thing. So anyway, so the doctor set up a surgeon to, basically to do a liver biopsy.
Yeah, biopsy. Mm-hmm.
So they did a liver biopsy. Was inconclusive. They didn't get enough material to say what it is. It was inconclusive. And I said, well, that's not good.
Well, they also wanted to do a lymph node, to remove a lymph node.
No, I told them that. Okay. I told them about the lymph node thing. I said, well, I told the doctor, I said, hey, we're not doing another biopsy on the liver. I said, why don't you just take a whole lymph node? And then I said, don't take a piece, just take a whole one, and then y'all check that out and dissect, do whatever you need to do, find out exactly what it is. So that's what they did. They took a lymph node out of my groin area, and that's when they found out that I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4. My oncologist, then after that, we set up an appointment with oncologist, Dr. Simbo, which is an awesome doctor.
He was really good.
Really awesome. And being that I'm a Virgo, so we kind of like did our research and homework, so he knew he wasn't messing with anybody that wasn't trying to find out what's going on and what's going on with your body. So Dr. Simbo was really awesome, and he was very thorough. He was very thorough, and everything. He had a little diagram and all this good stuff, and just showed us all the different areas within my body where the cancer was in probably about 7 different areas in my liver and in chest area, all around 7 different areas. And so he was pretty thorough about it. And so I said, well, okay, doc, what we need to do? And he said, well, the type of cancer you have is aggressive. He said, well, the good thing about it is that the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, even though it's aggressive, but it's easier to cure than a slow-moving cancer. I said, okay, well, what we need to do? He said, well, the treatment is called CHUB. That's a acronym for the treatment. And 5 different ingredients, whatever you want to call medicines, ingredients, whatever. So he said, you're gonna have like 6 treatments every 3 weeks. He said, so every 3 weeks you're gonna get the treatment. And so we started. I said, well, let's get it. Let's do what we need to do. And so my first treatment, it was all day long. I got there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I left there about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, because they could not put that stuff in there. And actually, they had to put a port in my chest. The surgeon put a port in my chest, because they just couldn't put that directly into your vein. You know, it burn your veins out, so they had to put it in the artery. And so after that treatment, that first treatment, you know, nothing. I didn't, you know, he said,
You
well,
were still going to work. You were
I'm still working
working.
and doing all this thing like this. But the doctor said, Dr. Simmons said, well, he's kind of telling me basically, well, Ron, you're going to be going through this, you know, possibly you're going to be losing your hair, your skin tone's going to change and all these different things. And so I said, okay, fine. So the first treatment, you know, it hit me, you know, it did its thing. He said it's going to do a lot of killing out of the cancer on that first treatment. I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't lose any, you know, anything. I'm like, okay, that first
Right.
treatment wasn't really nothing. And so I took that in, you know, good standing. And then the second treatment after 3 weeks, you know, they hit me up again, and then and of course they tested, and they were seeing the progress, and it actually was killing out the cancer. You know, so that second treatment now, and I'm not losing my hair yet, right?
Right.
I wasn't
Right.
losing my hair. I wasn't these things that he said I was going to go through. I didn't go through because I think because what we were doing prior to finding out about the cancer was me and Sharon was being proactive on our health. So we were like juicing, you know, eating
Yeah.
right. We done
After we
that
found
way
out about it.
before finding out about the cancer. Way
We
before that
sta-
cancer, we were doing juicing and doing all these things, trying to be healthy in prior to, and so that third treatment, that's when I start, you know, losing my hair and all this kind of stuff. Starts
Yeah.
that
Then we
third
tried
treatment.
to make it easier for Sierra by making her a part of
Well, yeah, I
the
talked.
process, talking to her about it, our daughter Sierra. And once he found out that he was actually started losing his hair, I remember one morning he came and just actually pulled out a whole chunk
Clump
of his
of hair.
hair just with his hands. And we knew then it was time to cut the hair off, and we allowed Sierra, we gave
I wanted
her
her.
the clippers and
Yeah,
allowed her to
I was
cut.
thinking. I talked to Sharon about it, and I said, look, Sharon. I said Sierra got to be part of the process, so I want her, you know, to understand what I'm going through and everything. And so what I did, I said, hey Sierra, can you cut my hair? And she said, yeah, Daddy. And at the time, Sierra was how old was she?
About 8.
About 8 years of age.
Yeah.
And so I got the clippers out, and I had
And
her
the
to cut my
shaver.
hair so she can be a part of the process, so she won't be afraid. You know, that's the whole
So she
purpose
cut
of it,
his
so she
hair.
can be a part of what we're going
And
through.
you'll see pictures in the
We'll roll
end.
the
We're going to put up
clips.
some pictures of
So Sierra, you know, she
the
cut my hair
process.
off and everything, and it was a beautiful thing. She was good to go. Cut all my hair off and everything, and so, but mind you guys that you gotta imagine this is stage 4 cancer. I got 2 sisters that are nurses, and pretty much they wrote me off. They like, well, we had to prepare for Ryan because we're gonna lose him. But I'm saying to myself, I'm like, I don't think so. You know, I said, no, I'm not going out like that. You know, but that's just them because they've seen it over and over again being in the medical field, you know, being stage 4 cancer. You know, people don't survive. And so,
But so some of the things that we done, I want to just kind of touch on some of the things that we done to try to get your health, to make sure that you were strong enough to go through the chemo.
Well, we
Because
done that
the
already.
chemo was 5 different chemo medicines, very strong.
so yeah, the mushrooms. Yeah, Donald told us about the mushrooms, so I went over there to this Asian place, and we got these. I picked up these herbs over there in Buford, off of Buford Highway. It's supposed to boost up my immune system to help me going through the chemo treatment to keep my immune system up high.
Okay, so then So the next real, I guess, point that I remember is when you end up getting pneumonia. Um,
Well, the ammonia stuff, when we discovered, well, I
he
think
was
that was
on the road.
yeah, it was
You're
the
on the
fourth,
road
I
because he
think it
was
was
still doing. He was
the
still
fourth
driving.
treatment.
Still
Yeah,
trucking.
probably about the fourth treatment because I think it was May because we were getting ready to go home for my mom's birthday,
Yeah,
her 90th
well,
birthday.
what happened was my immune system was, because if understanding when you get the chemo treatment, it zeroes out your immune system. And so I'm still riding, I'm still driving, and all this stuff, making money and all this kind of stuff. And
Were you in South Georgia?
I was I was in Kentucky.
Kentucky?
I was in Kentucky when the unbeknownst to me that I had pneumonia. So it just hit me really hard, and didn't have no energy. I mean, and all this stuff. It hit me really hard in Horse Cave, Kentucky, and I can barely walk and breathe and all this kind of stuff. It took me a long time.
How did you get home? What did you do?
I basically crawled into the truck. Literally crawled into the truck. I was loaded and everything. I basically crawled into the truck, crawled into my driver's seat. I know I had to get home, and that's like 350-mile drive. I had to get home because, to get into the hospital. So I did that, made it home, delivered that load, and then I went to the hospital
Went to the
emergency room, and they admitted me that after I dropped that load off, they admitted me right away. Because I never had pneumonia. I knew something was going really bad for me right at that point. That's the first pneumonia bout.
Right.
And
then
so that first one got in the hospital, and they kept me in the hospital for about 3 or 4 weeks. The first time, about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks,
4 weeks, right? Yeah.
in the hospital. And they were trying to figure out what type of pneumonia I had. They dealing with the cancer. So, I mean, they did a combination of therapies and everything to get the right mix for me. So anyway, they done that. So basically, they got me back up, but I was thinking like, I'm not ready to leave, but the doctor said, oh, you good to go. But I'm feeling I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't ready. But the doctor was, doctor knows best. Not no shade on the doctors, but anyway, but I did think like, I don't think so. So they released me back home, and I went back to work. It wasn't no more than 2 weeks later. Boom, I got hit triple time with the pneumonia
again.
A relapse with the pneumonia, and it really hammered me then. I was really jacked up at that point.
Well, I think, wasn't that after we came back from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, after we came back from...
The first time that you got out of the hospital, I believe we ended up going to Pittsburgh for my mom's 90th birthday party, and we drove all the way. He had oxygen. He was using oxygen.
To breathe.
I didn't think it was such a great idea, but we went anyway because it was my mom's 90th, and we had this great big birthday party planned for her. And so he drove.
I drove, and I'm toting around with a little oxygen tank and all this stuff. Got the little things in my nose, and we driving to Pittsburgh.
Even after that, he stopped in Detroit, went to Detroit to pick up his mom. Because we had already promised her that we were going to
pick her up and bring her back to Atlanta. So we went to Pittsburgh with the oxygen tank.
Went to Detroit.
Then we went to Detroit to pick my mother up.
Drove back home.
Drove back home, and then
Then I think it was 2 weeks after that.